Welcome to Unselfishly Me, a podcast all about self-love, self-care, and everything in between. I'm Jane, a personal trainer with a focus on self-love. Each week, we'll be chatting to someone about their self-love journey, how long it took, and what it took to get there.
On today's podcast, as you can probably hear, we're doing something a little different. Today, I, Justine, or Punky, am interviewing Jane. Hi, Jane.
Hi, Punky. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm great. I'm nervous. It's so weird being on the other side.
How do you feel about me hijacking your podcast?
I mean, if anyone was going to hijack it, I would pick you. So I'm happy about that. But I'm like a bit of a control freak. So it's weird not being in control, but I will surrender and it's for a good cause. So yeah, I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure. I think I'm so excited about this because you interview the most amazing people on your podcast and we get to know so much about them. And even though you do share a lot of yourself when you are on a podcast with them and on your social media and or your blog and all your online properties, it's really nice to be able to have this chat with you about you talking about self-love, the queen of self-love.
Yeah, I think it's something different. And I think it's nice to be asked things and not just be telling people things as well.
Exactly. So I'm very excited that you asked me to do this for you. And on that note, shall we get stuck in?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay, cool. So I want to know, what does self-love mean to you?
Sure. I feel like there's so much pressure for me to answer this because I always ask this and everyone's like, oh, it's such a big question. So I was thinking about it. And for me, the biggest thing is that self-love is living without labels. So living without labeling yourself, living without labeling of other people on you, and living without the labels that other people have given you over time. So you might have been told when you were young that you are lazy, or been labeled that you are bossy, or anything like that, overweight, or you're too skinny, or whatever the label is that someone else has given you. And then it sticks with you for life. So for me, you also label yourself or you get labeled by other people, but it's living without those labels. So it's not letting those labels stick to you. And it's just rejecting those labels and living as your authentic self, and knowing that you are better than that. You are better than any label that you have put on yourself or that other people have put on you. And you just live your best life as your most authentic self, loving yourself, knowing that you are worthy of everything that you want and things that you deserve, and just putting yourself first and being able to recognize that you deserve everything in your life and you deserve to love yourself first, no matter what.
Oh, it's almost like you do this a lot. That was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
I think that's so true. I know so many people who battle with, and I just want to go back to your point about labels and other people's perception of you. I know from other talks that somebody called you bossy back in the day. I know from my side, I was always called fat. And it's horrible how the words of a 12-year-old or a 15-year-old or whatever they follow you through the rest of your life. And it's I feel like self-love is shedding that name and becoming your authentic self.
Yeah, for sure. And I think the key learning for anyone today is that you don't have to always have those labels. You can shed them and get rid of them. You don't let them in, and just know that it isn't who you are, especially when it's coming from other people and what they are saying to you. You are able to let go of them. You don't have to let it in. You don't have to let criticism in. You don't have to let any of that in. And that in itself is self-love, blocking all of that away from you.
I love that. So Jane, I just want to get into what your self-love journey looks like.
Okay, so I think like everyone else, I was bullied at school. I mean, like everyone, I feel like everyone has a bullying story. And I was also bullied at school. I have a hollow back. So I'm grateful for it now because I have a booty and it's really trending.
Hell
But
yeah.
I was always teased for having a hollow back. And even though I was the sporty one and I was always in all the sports teams and captain of this and that, it was just something that not everyone, but a few people picked on me. And then, once you get labeled something, mine was helium bum, which I think those girls that called me that wish they had a helium bum right now. But so like it became a label and that stuck with me. Sure, that was, I want to say that was in grade 6, like standard 4-ish, when I was
So young.
yeah, we were all dancing and they were like older girls. And then it kind of stuck with me, and then you kind of have to try and learn to, it's probably like you with being so tall, you learn to stand a different way. So you probably were so tall, so you were cowering and like rounding your shoulders. Like I was trying to like tilt my pelvis under so it didn't look so big. Meantime, there was nothing wrong with me. I was beautiful. I was perfect the way I was. My body was amazing. But it was something that just stuck with me. So I was very self-conscious. And then, yeah, you go into high school, again, self-conscious. But for me, coming out of it was really when I went overseas. After varsity. So I did a sports science degree. So I did 3 years. And then I did my honors in exercise science. And then decided I needed to just go overseas for a while.
See what you could explore like most people do.
Yeah. So I ending up in Edinburgh. So Siobhan, who edits my podcast, is actually Scottish and she's from Edinburgh. It's so weird how we were brought together.
Yeah.
But it's one of my favorite cities and I just feel so at home there. And it was there that I got the Heathrow injection, like everyone else. A personal trainer is not immune. So the cold was just on another level, and just homesick and eating my feelings. And coming home, I think I was about 12 kgs overweight. And for someone who's always in shape and sporty and, just like a dancer and things like that, like nightclubbing, dancing, it was very strange for me to just feel so unconnected to my body and just feeling like another person. And I'm glad it happened because it helps me with clients. It's always helped me in the last 14 years to be able to put myself in someone else's shoes. Like it doesn't sound like a lot, but then there are people that need to lose or want to lose more weight than that. But 12 kgs is not a lot for some people, but for me, in context to my size, like for me, it was a huge deal at the time. And coming back in my version of overweight, it was really soul destroying. And people that used to be friends with me, and I know it sounds trivial, but the guys that used to be into me weren't into me and they're looking at me differently. And it like really made me so upset and and I just felt uncomfortable in my own skin, like going to the gym and I was just trying to lose weight. And I was doing it for the wrong reasons. I wasn't doing it for myself. And as soon as I realized that I was doing it for other people and not for myself, it was about 5 months of slogging away and nothing budged. And as soon as I realized that I was doing it for the wrong reasons and that I needed to do it for myself and that I was more important, that's when it actually started coming off and I just started being more kind to myself. So basically for 13 years, that's what I have lived by. With clients, I've always told them to speak kindly to themselves in the mirror, because we are our biggest critics and we just degrade ourselves more than anyone else. We think everyone's judging us, but really it's actually us judging ourselves. So for me, that's when it started back then. So probably early 2007.
Sure.
Yeah, it's been a long road. And then from there, just trying to work on myself a lot. But also like it's a journey. It's like a marathon, not a sprint. So I mean I slipped off the radar a few times and
as you do, you're human.
But only about probably the last 4 years or so, I've really been on like another journey in a sense, like finding yoga and like wanting to know more about the spiritual side of yoga and that kind of stuff, and just finding people like Brene Brown and just kind of delving more into that. And I think going on yoga retreat to Greece, like it was such a whim. Like I don't know how, why I was into yoga. I'd done it on and off for like a few months. And then a friend of mine was taking it in Greece. And I was like, oh, I'd love to go to Greece. It's like on my bucket list.
Yeah.
And then just because of her, I didn't even have the money, but I just trusted that I would manifest it somehow and that it would come. And it did. So I just signed up for it, booked, and I was like, this will get me more into yoga, which will be more like spiritual. And yeah, from then, basically, just started researching more and reading more and being more connected with my body. And through that, I think I've realized how many other people are not connected to theirs, and that I can, by helping myself, I can help others as well. So just speaking to myself kindly and putting all the steps into practice for myself also helped. And then I went to a yoga workshop at House of Calm, and Michelle, she was doing, it was a solar plexus chakra workshop, and I thought it was so fascinating. I wanted to try and do all of them, but that was my first one I went to. And she was talking all about solar plexus chakra, which is all about your self-worth and feeling good about yourself and your confidence. And she spoke about Marissa Peer and her I Am Enough movement. And from there, something just clicked that day. And I went home and I was watching her videos, and I became
aha moment.
yeah, I became so obsessed with Marissa Peer. I still am. That yeah, from there I just realized that if that can help me on that day, and in 2 weeks I just started feeling better just by implementing a few things, then I could help other people to do that. But it wasn't until you
Sorry, but not sorry.
sorry, not sorry. It wasn't until you were being unkind to yourself on your Instagram stories, and I'd like literally just come from that the weekend before. I had just come off a podcast with Kiri Bainborough, Walking with Wildflowers, talking about this whole thing and self-love. And I got back down to the house and I was watching Insta stories, and the first person who I watched was you, saying that you needed to lose 10 kgs in like, I think it was 2 weeks or something before your birthday, and how can I do it? And I was like, I was so angry because I was so pumped up that I was like, love yourself more. And you're like, no. So yeah, it was actually you that spurred this whole thing on, that I was like, no, I need to help you. I know how to help you. Let me help you. And yeah, I think it was that same day I just started sending you like the video from Marissa Peer, and that was just before I went into yoga class that night. And I was so stressing the whole yoga class. All I could think about was, I wonder, will she say yes, and will she watch this video? Like, I wonder if she'll watch this video. The whole yoga class I was thinking about you. I was just like, can this end?
Well, I watched the video, as you know, and yeah, you've kind of changed. I'm not there yet, as you also know, but yeah, you've changed my whole mindset. So I'm thankful to you.
Oh, thankful to you, because you saying yes and letting me, it was only like a few days of just sending you stuff. I realized, I was like, I think I can do this and make a course that I could send this to more people so it could help more people. Because if you were feeling like 5% more positive in one day, like imagine if this was like an ongoing thing that I could do for women. So from there, then I basically spent like a month creating the Unselfishly Me brand and the Unselfishly Me course. And yeah, it was a lot of work, but it was amazing.
I even remember when you came up with Unselfishly Me and how excited you were. And it was just so exciting because it really was like, I mean, you're my friend and I adore you, and I know, I know you on a personal level, but it was so exciting when you came up with Unselfishly Me, because like just your whole sort of demeanor, not that your demeanor was ever bad, but your whole demeanor changed, like you were just so excited. I'd never seen you so excited about something like that before. And I kept on saying to you, Jane, this is what you're supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. Like, yes, you can make people fit and you can train them, but you've always had this like, that there's more to just eating right and working out. There's a third aspect, and that is loving yourself. So you want to eat right and want to work out.
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's so many people doing self love on itself or personal trainers, but I don't think there's people that are doing both like I am.
Yeah.
And for me, that was just such a gift to create something that um, everyone can be interested in. So, yes, I can have people that just want to train with me, and I have people that just want to do the self love, but there's so many that want to do both. And even with your, actually, my challenge was also your idea. So, you're like my muse. um,
You're
but
my
being able
muse.
oh, thank you. But being able to do the challenge where it's people that come to me because they follow me on Unselfishly Me and they love this aspect. And then the challenge is like a very kind challenge. It's not like burpees and giving eating plans that are so restrictive. It's like, I don't do eating plans, eat less, exercise more. Here are the exercises. It should take you about 20 minutes. It's not like a hectic, crazy challenge. It's to challenge yourself. It's like a self-love challenge
Yeah.
with fitness as well. So I think it's really nice that I can do both, and I've mixed them together, and they've kind of like become this, like I've almost become one brand. But yeah, it's been such a special journey, and it was just amazing how it all came about. Yeah, I didn't really sleep properly for like a month, getting it done, but it was so quick. Everything happened so quick. I think that was the Tuesday. Was I talked to you on the Tuesday because that's when I used to go to yoga, and on the Friday I had a kinesiology appointment booked. I didn't have a name yet. I'd written down about 5 ideas, and then straight after the kinesiology appointment with Janelle, I had already booked Kim, who is my graphic designer. So at the same place in the same little center, we were having coffee afterwards. It was insane. I'd already decided on the 8 weeks what I wanted to call them and what I wanted to do. And then when I had the kinesiology appointment, she tested for it and it was like 96% yes, I have to do this. And in that session, we found the name. It was Uncanny. So she said, I feel like the name is in a book outside. So I was like, what? So Sabrina, who owns House of Calm, has all these like little like spiritual books and decks of cards and things like that on a table in the waiting area. So she went outside, she bought this book, and it came back and said, When I Loved Myself More. So she was like, it's in here somewhere, and we're like paging through, and then she's like, there's there's like something. She said, it's like, I want to come train with you, but I feel like it's taking away money from my family. And I want to spend more time with you, but then it's taking away time from my family. So I feel like I'm being selfish. And then I just blurted out, Unselfishly Me. And she was like, yes, like it was insane. It's almost like we were doing like a dance in her rooms. And that's how, and she tested it and I was like, yes. So that's literally how. And then I went straight to my meeting with Kim, literally. I walked out that door into another one, and I'm like, this is the name. And she's like, oh my, brilliant. And while we were sitting there, we sketched the logo and everything right then and there. And yeah, that was our meeting. And she went and designed it. I started creating the content, and a month later it was born. So I was just running on adrenaline of passion and excitement, I think.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. It really is. I know it's changed my life hugely. So I'm so
It was a
glad.
Freudian slip of a good kind.
Yeah. So yeah, and I know a lot of the girls. I don't know if you have guys doing Unselfishly Me, but I know a lot of the girls will say the same. It's really great.
Yeah.
Just going on, I just want to know, because it is quite hard every day to love yourself, but what are the little self-care things that you do every day?
So I try and meditate, like listen to a guided meditation. If you'd asked me this a year ago, my answer would have been different, obviously, because I had more time because I didn't have a baby yet. But now having a baby, time is limited. So for me, I don't have a bath every day, but if I have a bath, I'll read a little bit in the bath. I'm trying to read 2 pages a night of a book when I go to bed. Like I've said, you have to read 2 pages because I love reading, but I don't make time for that. But I also try and do like a guided meditation before bed because I know it makes me sleep better, it makes me feel better. But what I do now is I use Insight Timer, the app, but I've done the paid version so I can do all the different courses. So while I'm giving her a bottle at night and putting her to sleep, which the whole routine will probably take about half an hour.
Yeah.
I actually pop on an episode of one of the courses that I'm doing. I have like my AirPods in. So she's having a bottle and I'm rocking her. And yeah, so while I feed her, I am listening to something I want to listen to. So that's really nice. I get through about 2 episodes out of a 10. They're usually a 10-day course. So I do like 2 of the days. So that for me is really important, because I used to not do that. I used to get angry when she took a long time to go to sleep, because in human design, I'm a manifesting generator. So I literally can't stop. And I always want to be doing lots of different things. And then I'm having to work a lot at night. So I was getting a little bit annoyed that she was taking long and wasn't falling asleep until I started doing this. Now it doesn't affect me because I'm multitasking and I'm getting to do something I want to do. So I'm filling that cup up while she is taking as long as she needs as well, and not rushing her. She's a generator. Kerry did all her our
I'm
human
also a
design.
generator.
Oh, you? Oh, look at you, matching. But Jack, she said, you'll probably agree with this. She said, like, generators have a lot of energy at night, and so generally you're gonna have to, like, she'll have to bounce on a trampoline or something when she's a little bit older. But also, she's not going to be able to multitask like I do. So I'm going to have to be very patient with her and know that she can't do everything. So, like, going to sleep, like, she's not going to do it quickly. Like, it's going to be in her time, and slowly drink the bottle, finish the bottle, close the eye. So by doing this for myself, it's really helped me to feel like I'm doing something that I want to do. And in a sense, the things that I listen to are actually work, to be honest, because it's like almost research in a way for Unselfishly Me and being able to spread the message on. So it's like almost more learning. I love learning. So I get to do that. So that's probably the biggest one. And lately, what I've also been doing is when she wakes up in the morning, put her in her cot with her toys, just so I can lie down and have like 5 minutes to myself. Um, yeah, so that's as well. It used to be before, like I would go for walks and listen to a podcast while I'm walking. So now it's a little bit harder now because we're in lockdown, but generally I'll go back to that eventually as well. But things now are a little bit more hectic, that you don't have as much time because you're on top of each other and at home. And yeah, but for me, the biggest thing I look forward to every day now is, I used to not look forward to the bedtime, but now I do look forward to it because I get to listen and learn something that I want to.
That's amazing. I love that. Yeah, that's great. I think it's so important to find things that you enjoy throughout the day that make you happy. You know, like I have really bad habits, and that's one thing I've learned from Unselfishly Me, is that I used to have such a great routine, but you know, life changes, and I haven't been so great at adapting, or not adapting, maybe adapting, like adapting my sort of day-to-day life so that I can keep the things that I really love, you know. So yeah, I actually literally restarted today, running again, because that really made me feel well, and I like that 30 minutes to 40 minutes of listening to a podcast and just having some time to chill.
Yeah, you like, if I think of you, I think of you running, like that is your thing. So I'm glad that you've started doing that again and making the time. I think I'm also guilty. We're like, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to that. Meantime, I've been scrolling and getting stuck in people's stories when I could have actually been journaling in that time. So I've given myself a little bit of a reality check this week as well, and said, like, just stop scrolling. My job is to post. My job is not to sit there and to scroll. And yes, I enjoy it. I love watching stories. It's like my little pleasure. I won't say guilt. I hate saying guilty pleasure, but it's my pleasure. No guilt. But I need to realize that my job as a social media, I don't like influencer, but it's true.
Manage accounts. You're a social media manager.
Yeah, and as a manager, is to post on my brand stuff, and then I don't have to go and watch other people's stories. I need to, if I want to read, I need to make that time. So that's what I've learned now, and given myself a little reality check, is post and go. Like, I don't have to sit there and then go down the rabbit hole of everyone's stories as much as I want to. I need to make the decision for myself, what is better for me. And right now, what I want to do is read a book.
Oh, girl, I've started TikTok is my new rabbit hole, which I also have to break that addiction. I tried to do, they do these like screen recording things. So like when you've been on the app for an hour, you have to put in a PIN code, and it's kind of your phone's way of saying, hey girl, you should probably get off this here app. You've been on it for an hour straight. I just put in my PIN code and carry on going. So yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's especially tough when you work in industries like ours, where I enjoy social media, but I also work in social media. So I do need to watch stories, because there could be somebody who is talking about something, and my client could have a product or service that it solves, much like you. So yeah, well done on finding that balance and reading a book. Oh my God, I can't remember the last time I did that. But yeah, I think some very important points there about making the time, because we don't.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, especially now, that's my thing, is this for the next week. That's what I'm planning on doing, is just getting back into a habit of making the time and putting myself first, because it is the most important thing. And I do try as much as possible. And it's just something I need to reinforce even more.
Yeah. Is there anything else you would like to discuss? Or I know we've spoken a lot about self-love, but is there anything new that you've learned on your self-love journey that you feel is worth sharing?
So now obviously I've had to pivot everything online, and my course has been online. But for me, I've had to do the training online as well. So I've started launching Zoom workouts. And then I decided to do the same for Unselfishly Me, because I was meant to have my retreat last weekend, and I'm so sad, because the retreats have become my favorite thing. We have like 10 to 12 women coming on retreat, and I get to do these amazing talks with them, and journaling and meditation. And like we go into the forest and we have like guided meditations there with headphones. And we even did like a little mini secret sunrise in the forest. It's like my favorite thing. It is the most incredible energy, fun, community and healing. And it's just everything that I believe in one. And so I've been a bit sad, because I knew that we weren't going to be able to go. So I've missed like connecting with people. So I launched Unselfishly Me Connect, which is Self-Love Sundays. We have a Zoom session for 45 minutes. I generally go to an hour, to be honest, because I ramble. But we've done two now. And the first one was about negative self-talk. And then we did Journaling 101 last weekend, because one of the girls from the first one was like, can't you do something on journaling? And I was like, yeah, I can. It was so fun and so amazing, and everyone chatting and feedback. And I think that's what's been missing during this lockdown and during this pandemic, is that feeling of connected.
Yeah, human action.
Yeah. So now we're doing a manifesting one as well, which is important, I think, right now.
So important.
So like plan the rest of the year might not be amazing, but we can also start thinking about next year, like the end of this year and next year, and manifesting what we want, and using this time to really think about what we want and start living your life in a way that will attract those things that you want. So that's something that I'm excited about, that session. And also manifesting things for myself, I think, is important as well. So having to pivot has been a huge thing, learning all new technology and trusting the universe and just trusting in myself, and almost letting go, because I'm a little bit of a control freak. So having to surrender to everything that's going on and just going with the flow, which I generally do go with the flow, but I think I control it slightly. Like I'll just move the boat slightly to the left. But now having to literally just let the oars go and let them flow downstream. Been like a huge lesson. And I think we are all in this together. Everyone's different, obviously different levels of that, but something that's been nice for me in a way through all of this has been that everyone is experiencing the same thoughts, feelings around the world. Like my cousin is in the UK, she's British, and she's a nurse, and she's been chatting to me. They're also experiencing that. And then there's some, like another cousin in Sweden and one in London, and there's, everyone's everywhere, that we all in the same kind of boat, experiencing the same thing.
Yeah, it's a weird way to feel connected with people. Hey, like, oh hey, you're in lockdown also. Great.
Yeah. What are you doing during your lockdown? Oh, okay. So, oh, you're allowed to exercise an hour a day. That's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
it's the most bizarre thing, but at the same time, I think it's just such a lesson to all of
But
us to trust.
yeah, it's a cool way to at least connect with people outside of our immediate environment. I want to go back into talking a bit about your manifesting workshop because it just hit a bit of a thing with me. Do you know that I'm one hell of a manifester?
No, tell me more.
So I mean, ages ago, my mom got the book The Secret, and everyone remember that time when The Secret was just like a thing.
Yeah.
Anyway, my mom was always like, if you want something, write it down, forget about it, but just write it down. Like anything that you really want in your life, put in a special, like in your diary or whatever, write it down and forget about it. Well, I never forgot about it. So the other day, like 4 years ago, before I bought my flat, I was moving flats and I found my diary from 2005, 2006-ish, so like 10 years before. And every single thing on that list was coming true that year.
No.
Every single thing had come true. Everything, like with the weirdest sort of details. So I always wanted to own a house by the time I was 30, like with Zimbabwean land reform and losing our homes and whatever so many times. A home's always been like really important to me. So by the time I was 30, I wanted to own a flat. And I literally was moving in the March into my new place and found this book. And I was like, oh my flippin' gosh. And then the next thing is I wanted to own my own digital agency. That started. I got like a few freelance clients and then opened up my business in the same year, but didn't go at it full time. And then, like, even boyfriend Mark, every bit of his mannerisms is exactly what I wanted in a boyfriend. Like, all the good points, like everything that made me fall in love with him are written down on this piece of paper, which I now can't find. But I must actually find it and I'll send you a picture of it. It's incredible. Like everything to like, even now I have a little dapple dachshund. It's on there.
No, was Tilly on there?
Yes, I always wanted a dapple dog.
Oh, oh my
Like
God.
it's crazy. Like I just kind of put my like sort of ideas of what I thought was going to be like a happy, successful life for me down, and they all came true.
It's so powerful just putting it out into the universe, and definitely writing it down helps, and being specific. Like if you hadn't said a dappled dachshund, you wouldn't have got that if you just said a dog.
I didn't even say dachshund. I just said a dappled dog. Like I always loved like those Australian shepherd dogs or like I just always have loved animals with lots of color.
Yes.
Yeah. Um so yeah, I mean Tilly's everything and I'm so glad we love her, but I just wanted a dapple dog. So I got our little dream child. But yeah, it's crazy. So that manifesting one I am going to make time for. Is that the Sunday?
Yes. And if anyone listening has missed it, then I am going to be repeating them. So I'll do the repeats of the Sunday ones like on a Saturday,
Cool.
so that people can still hop on and do any that they missed.
Okay, amazing. That's good to know.
What else do you want to know? Anything else? I have had a request for retreats when we eventually can do them again, for men to come on the retreats. So that's quite interesting. I didn't think that
That'll add a new dynamic, which is cool.
yeah, so I might do a partner one, and then like we'll do some chats together, some like separate, and then
Awesome.
I'll do like a mixed one sometime as well. Obviously, those I have to advertise as mixed from the start, so people aren't like uncomfortable. But yeah, so
Yeah,
quite interesting. And then I think I also want to do a teen one.
that'll be cool.
Yeah, and like a mom and me. So like the moms can, I'll do one with the moms, and then they can, and the kids can like chill outside or do what they want, and then switch it, and the moms go relax, and then the kids do a little talk. And yeah, so I'm missing the retreat so much, and I think that's what bothers me the most, to be honest, is not being able to go to the Midlands and do that, because I think it's so important for everyone.
Let's hope that, yeah, let's hope this ends soon. I mean, everybody's got a situation where they need this lockdown to end, or at least have an answer on what's happening. But yeah, I can't wait. I haven't been able to do a retreat yet, which I'm devastated about. They always just seem to happen on times when I'm
Not in the country.
or not in the country. Yeah. That makes me sound like such a world traveler. I'm really not. I'm just like go to Zimbabwe a lot.
That was the one time she's going on a European vacation.
So yeah, I can't wait until your retreats happen as well, because I want to come on one.
Definitely. But yeah, that's all I've got planned for going forward. Yeah, I can't wait for the retreats to happen. My leggings have launched with mermaids and unicorns, so that myself love
Oh, I've
leggings.
seen there's been a lot of people buying them. I have just about every other person on my social media, because we follow so many of the same people,
Yeah.
have bought them. Have you seen a lot of people
Yeah.
tagging you and things?
Yeah, so it's so nice. And now with things being able to be couriered, they're going out now, which is nice. And then launch my legacy books as well. So
I want to talk about your legacy book.
yay. You bought one for your mom.
I did, and she loves it. It is such a clever idea. So even like I've just given my mom one now because it was her birthday on the 12th. But since we were little, my mom had legacy books. I just didn't know that they were called legacy books. They were almost like a document my life sort of books. And my mom is so good at that. Like she would always write down things like Justine can't say helicopter, she says helicopter. It's so cute, like things that you laugh about now, but at the time. And I loved as a little one, loved going through those books. There would be things like Justine grew 3 centimeters this month. I mean, in my family, growing's something we do well. So our heights were always noted, and then any cute little things that we did apart from the big milestones were always written down. So if you are a mom and or a dad or a sister or an aunt or a whatever you are, if there's somebody with a growing kid in your family, I cannot recommend this legacy book enough, because it really is such a special way to remember things that happen on the day, on the daily, that you may not remember down the line when it comes to like a 21st or an 18th, a 16th, a 10th. It's always nice to look back on it. So the legacy books are great.
Yeah. And I think also like I had to try and make it quite generic because I didn't want to do like one for a husband and a wife and one for a mom and a child. And so even the questions, I mean, I went through hundreds of questions. I had to like filter them down because some of them were like, us saying things about parents, and I'm like, yeah, but some of my friends don't have their mom with them or their parents, so I didn't want to have a book where some of the questions weren't right. I wanted something that you could give to your best friend, you could give it to your mom, your dad, your child, you could give it to a sibling, you could give it to anyone. So you could fill it in and give it to your friend, or you can gift it to your friend to fill in for you or your parent or whatever it was, to try and make it quite generic, that they're really cool questions to get to know someone, their personality, their whole life. Because I didn't ask my gran so many questions, like her childhood. Like I didn't know anything about her childhood. I never asked her. So for me, I was trying to develop something that other people wouldn't miss out on those memories. So I created something that I could fill in for my mom, for my brother, for Nick, for Pepe. Like I can fill in for other people that they could have if something happened to me prematurely, basically. So I've got one out now that I need to start writing for Pepe.
Yeah.
So that at least she's got one and knows how I felt about her. and then like things about my life and my childhood, and things that I'm interested in, like what's in my bucket list, or what was or is my dream car. Like some of the questions are quite trivial, but they're quite cute and interesting. Like what colors. I don't even know what my grand's favorite color was. Like she wore so many, but you know what I mean? Something simple like that, or her favorite music, like
Yeah.
things like that that you don't think to ask. But then also there's deeper questions as well, like advice on life and business and love and other things as well. But I think it's so important, especially now with everything going on in the world. You don't know who is going to be battling with that or who's going to get sick. So yeah, that's probably from launching Unselfishly Me. That's my new biggest, like most proudest moment, is that and the leggings. So yeah, going forward, that is my only plan in the next few months, is pushing those products and hoping that the retreats come back soon so that I can see all of you and just help everyone to have some hope and healing. So I think it's important now.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is. Well, Jane, you have been lovely today. Thank you for letting me hijack your podcast and ask you some questions for a change, because we all love how your brilliant mind works, and that's why we're all here listening in the first place. So yeah, it's been really, really great. And I'm so thankful to you, and I'm so thankful for Unselfishly Me. And yeah, I can't wait to see what you have in store in the future.
Thanks for having me, Punky. You've been fantastic, and I couldn't think of anyone better to have hijacked my podcast today.
I'm so glad. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. You can share this with your friends. Sharing's caring. And yeah, see you on the interwebs, because we can't see people in real life at the moment.
And I will see you guys next week. Thanks for listening to Unselfishly Me. Follow us on Instagram at unselfishlyme and check out our website www.unselfishlyme.com.